So 23 years of practicing yoga has turned me into a believer. I turn to yoga for literally everything. It doesn't matter what's off in my life, whether it's my physical body, emotional body, my physical experience, somehow, a relationships, job, whatever's happening. I never look for the external world to solve my problems. I turn to the mat, which is really an opportunity to move inward and isolate the problem within myself, to find out where the root is and to dig it up, and to get in there and resolve it. And now for 23 years I've been doing this, and yoga has healed literally every situation in my life. And it has uncovered within me a deep and profound sense of joy and bliss and a desire to serve, where all of my joy does not come from obtaining things, but from serving others and building community and compassion and kindness and connection and finding ways to do that. And this is truly the yogic way. This is what happens when we start turning inward. We start to take down those walls. The walls that say I need the external world to look a certain way for me to feel satisfied. Those walls start to come down, and suddenly we're able to find our way towards connection again, towards feeling as though I am you and you are me, and there is no separation. And so really, if you are unhappy, then I am unhappy, right? And so the only way for both of us to find joy again is for me to maybe assist you out of that place, or vice versa. And all of this from the practice of yoga. And it's really sad nowadays because I see a lot of people that have found yoga and they've maybe stepped lightly onto that path and they found some joy, but they haven't really discovered the true essence of yoga and its ability to truly transform every aspect of your life. That you can turn to yoga when you have a health issue. You can turn to yoga. You can drop into the mat and you can resolve that mental issue, whatever's happening in your mind, your emotions, it can all happen there on the mat. And we need to start tuning into that. This is where we're headed now as a society, that, we're isolating. And so, instead of looking to the external world, we've got to find a way to go inward. It's really the only way right now. And so here's a little something that I wrote today. It's my newest blog post, and it really speaks to this. So I hope you enjoy it. So I'm going to tell you a little story. It's a parable about a guru that is walking along the riverbank with one of his disciples. The disciple had found himself swirling in the turmoils of life, like most of us have, and he'd come to his guru for guidance. His mind had been buzzing like a million stinging bees, relentlessly producing thoughts and memories of hardship and pain that he had experienced throughout his life. So he turns to his guru and he says, "Please, Guru, I must know how to find peace. I cannot live this way anymore. I wish to know what you know and see what you see. Please, I beg you, tell me how." He dropped to his knees in prostration, begging to his guru. And the guru starts to assist him up off of his knees, gets him back to standing and says, "Come, walk with me." And he takes the disciple and begins to, walk in the direction of the water. They were walking along this riverbank. And of course, the disciple follows the guru in anticipation, excited, right? Hoping that his guru is going to share with him the answer that's going to free him from his suffering. So, and having taken him off of the streets 5 years earlier, the guru hadn't just provided this man with food and shelter, but he had given him unconditional love. So this man had never known unconditional love before being touched by this guru. And because of this connection with his guru, he didn't question him. He didn't question his intentions as they begin to walk, not just to the edge of the river, but begin to walk into the river. And even as the depth of the water climbed to their chest, the disciple was still filled with hope as he followed his guru. He was hoping that the guru was going to share with them the answer, and soon the water had rose all the way to their shoulders, and the mild current had caused their feet to become unsteady. And this is when the guru finally stopped, and he turned towards his disciple, who was still stirring with his anticipation, and he had placed his hands on his shoulders, and he said, "Please close your eyes, my son." Without hesitation, the man complied, closing his eyes. And the guru instructed him to take in a deep breath. And the man again complied. And as he said, take in a deep breath, the guru takes and places his hand on top of the disciple's head and pushes him underwater. And he's holding the man underwater. And moments later, this man flooded with this utter confusion, as a guru did the unthinkable. It felt like an earthquake, it coming without warning and shaking your whole foundation. And the disciple was confused, and he was feeling out of control, and he'd been overcome with a sense of panic. And his once solid faith in his guru's love was shattered. And the man who had taken him and shown him love had suddenly become his enemy. And a single-pointed focus began to arise where only survival mattered within this man. Even his reverence for his guru, the man he believed he would give his own life to save. At one point, he believed he would give his own life to save this guru. All of that disintegrated in the overwhelming desire for survival. When the guru released him, he emerged from the water gasping for air. His eyes were wild with fear, and he was searching for his something as he came up, trying to catch his breath, and he caught the gaze of his guru's loving eyes. And like clouds vanish under the sunlight, the fog of fear dissolved, and he remembered as he looked into his guru's eyes. And the guru says to him, "You just met the person that you must defeat if you wish to know real peace. The voice of terror and fear, this is your enemy." And he says, "Come with me." As he comes walking out of the river. He continues, "I cannot tell you how to find peace. Peace is not something you find. Peace is what you are. That person you met while under the water, that is your personality self, your ego, that strives for survival above all else. And the part of you that is peace knows that it cannot die. It is boundless and limitless and has no end or beginning." The guru sits on the riverbank and motions for the disciple to sit next to him. It is the personality self that creates suffering and fears its demise. It clings to its stories and creates attachments and expectations. We label and give some things more value and beauty, but these are just attachments created by the ego to keep you interested and pull you deeper into the illusion. Sometimes you get so taken in by the stories that you believe them to be who you are. And this transfers all of your power to the egoic personality self. This is when we stop looking for peace within and we start looking for peace from the external world. The guru takes his finger and he draws a line in the sand, and he says, "I will call this the Great Divide." On one side of the line, he writes in the sand, "Your true nature." And on the other side, he writes, "Your story." This is a separation that happens within you, where you lose your ability to connect with your true nature because you've given all of your attention to your story about who you are, creates all that you have come to know as suffering. The further we travel away from our true nature, the greater the suffering. The guru raises his gaze to the sky. Twilight was taking hold, and many shades of red and purple were creating an awe-inspiring sight. Real peace is not shaken by the external circumstances. To know true peace, you say thank you for the obstacles, and you pray for grace. You remain calm no matter how big the storm. When you can meet with obstacles and remember that the obstacles are part of the same love, this is when you will know real compassion and have remembered the love that is the thread connecting and flowing through all life, seen and unseen. Thank you so much for listening.